Welcome to Pankinen Financial Perspective with Ashton Pankinen from Pankinen Financial Group. Planning for your financial future means navigating challenges like market volatility, inflation, and retirement income. Pankinen Financial Perspective is here to help by addressing common financial concerns, sharing valuable strategies, and exploring ways you can work toward your financial goals. Now let's get started with Pankinen Financial Perspective.
Hello, and welcome to Pankinen Financial Perspective. My name is Ashton Pankinen from Pankinen Financial Group. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 952-873-2703 or visit us online at pankinenfinancial.com. That's PANKONIN financial.com. And while at my website, click on the radio page, check out past shows, and to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Also, while you're there, click the link at the top of the page to sign up for our retirement guide or our newsletter. If you've got access to a 401k through your employer, don't sleep on it, because it's one of the best tools for building retirement income that may help you secure the kind of post-career lifestyle you want. We're talking tax-deferred growth, long-term compounding, and in lots of cases, free money from your employer just for showing up and contributing. During today's show, we'll consider some of the ways you'll be able to maximize your 401k balance so that you can look ahead with more confidence. But before we jump into that topic, let me introduce my co-host, Tony Scher, who I'm sure is taking full advantage of his 401k.
Well, yeah, of course, I sure am.
Sorry about that,
Tony. No, I'm doing good, and of course, I am. But I wish I had done that when I got my first full-time job out of high school and college. I really wish I had known then what I know now and how important it was, because it took me a long time to realize, oh no, I've got to be putting more, at least something, into my 401k. And then it took me a little while longer to say, hey, I need to be putting more in. Yeah. And now that I'm in my 50s, I'm like, get as much in there as possible. So, it is important. And the earlier you start, the better. It's just like I always say, the best time to plant a tree, 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So I think this is going to be a good topic. I had a great week. Spent some time with the fam.
Nice.
Didn't set off any fireworks, so I still have my 10 digits. How about you?
My 10 digits are all here as well. Pretty low key 4th of July for us, but July 3rd is my son's birthday.
Oh, and great.
So, yeah, he turned 7, and so we went to the Children's Museum down in Mankato and spent the day down there with some family friends and their kids, and then they came over for a barbecue, and it was a nice weekend, and hot, of course. That's what the 4th of July is about, hot and humid weather, but no, it was a great weekend.
So your son turned 7?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. What's his name again?
Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley's just turned 7. Yep. So now what was the big gift you guys got Wesley? I mean, you took him to the Children's Museum, but I assume, knowing you, Ashton, probably maybe a motorcycle or a new snowmobile. What did Ashton get for his 7th birthday?
Yeah, no, we got Wesley some, I can't think of what they're called. There's like stacking sticks.
Oh yeah, cool.
He really enjoys them at school, and his teacher had said that when we did our conferences, and so we bought him that. And
oh, fun.
He plays with them every day. They're spread out on the floor and he's playing with them. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I remember having Lincoln Logs when I was 7, Lincoln Logs to make things out of, and Legos, of course, big on Legos. Do your kids like Legos? Yeah,
he actually, from our family friend, he got one of those sets too that, it's an RV. So it's an RV that he puts together, and
cool.
It's got a little baby in there, and
wow, that's
all that
cool.
Fun stuff. So
yeah, that's cool. He wants to be just like Dad with a big RV. You got a big RV, Ash?
We don't. The friends that got it for him do, and then we've got a travel trailer, so we go camping together.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Well, okay. So about this topic, where do you want to begin?
Yeah, I'm going to go through, just kind of start off with some things we've covered in past shows. And so I'll kind of go through them a little quick. And then there's some stuff that we haven't covered in previous shows either. So first off is that auto enrollment. Now employers are having that auto enrollment, but you got to remember that's not enough to get you to your retirement goal, just to get enrolled at that 3%. But the nice thing is a lot of times that auto enrollment start amount is enough to take full advantage of the employer match. And so again, we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of that match because it's free money just for contributing, which you should be doing anyways to hit that retirement goal. And then inside of that 401k also, you want to make sure you understand the vesting schedule. So the longer not all employers their match isn't fully vested from the beginning. Your match is always fully vested, meaning if you leave your employer, whatever your contribution, not your match, your contribution is always fully vested. So if you leave that employer, you're able to take that with you. But their match may not be fully vested. And so understand that vesting schedule that maybe if I hang it out one more year with this company, I'll become fully vested and get access to that full dollar amount in the 401k.
Regarding vesting, I may have told this story on a show previously, but I worked at a place for about 10 years before where I work now here at Gradient. But I had a buddy who had worked there about 5 years and a good friend of mine there. And he got a better job offer, took it, left. And a day after he left, his last day, gave his notice, his last day came. A day after, he went to switch over his 401k and noticed the amount was really low that they were giving him to switch over into an IRA or his new 401k. I can't remember which. But he went back to the HR at his old company where I still work. And they said, well, you didn't meet the vesting schedule. He missed it by a month. So 30 days if he extended, had he known, and it was a decent sum of money that the whole 401k match, they matched everything for 5 years. He put in enough to get the match. So he would have gladly worked one more month and worked that out to get that money. And he begged him, he goes, well, can I come back and work a month and get that? Nope.
Yeah.
No. So he lost it. And so you've got to understand the vesting schedule. It's free money. You don't want to leave it sitting on the table, but you also don't want to work hard and then just miss it by a little bit by not being aware of what your company, some it's just 3 years. Most of them are around 5 years now for vesting. So,
well, and some you're fully vested from the beginning. But a lot of employers have that 5 year because they want to keep turnover low. Right. Kind of give a reason for employees to stay.
Yeah.
And so, make sure you're aware of that vesting schedule.
Yeah.
And you may not be able to do this right away, but you want to also try and maximize your contributions. Limit for anybody under 50 this year is 23,500. So again, make sure you're trying to take full advantage of that. And then we will have catch-up contributions as well, depending on age there. So when you said you're 50 plus, you get an extra 7,500.
Yep.
In there.
Yeah. Whether I can afford to put that in there or not, we'll see. But yes. Yeah. You need those catch-up contributions that they allow you to make are great too. Yeah. And another key is, don't make decisions about your 401k or where you're putting your money for retirement without working with a financial services professional. Understand what's in there and what you have, right?
Correct. And, if you need information on that, feel free to give us a call at the office. We're happy to review that 401k with you, see if what makes sense as far as your contributions. Are we putting enough weight to hit that retirement goal? You can give our office a call, 952-873-2703. Again, that's 952-873-2703. Visit our website, pankinonfinancial.com. That's PANKONIN. financial.com. Visit past shows that we've talked about some of this stuff as well. Or, again, reach out and we'd love to review that 401k and make sure we're doing the right things inside of there to hit that retirement goal.
Right. So what's next?
Yeah. So another part of that, and it helps to talk with an advisor on this is, should we be doing a Roth 401k? Most plans offer a Roth 401k nowadays. Not all of them do. But the nice thing is you're going to have some tax-free money then. And so the way the Roth works is instead of getting a tax deduction for contributing to it, you don't get that tax deduction, but it grows tax-free. And so when you take it out, you don't pay tax on it as you draw it out. And so it can definitely help with that future tax planning and legacy goals. The Roth, whether it's Roth 401k or Roth IRA, both tax-free onto beneficiaries as well. So the beneficiaries don't have to worry about that income tax. So,
well, and taxes are one thing you definitely want to watch out for, especially with your retirement funds and planning for the future. That's another thing to talk to a financial services professional about, somebody like yourself, Ken. I think that's good. But you're right, Roths might be a good thing because then the money comes out of the Roth, it grows tax-free. It comes out tax-free. In fact, the principal and the interest are not taxed and can't be counted as taxable income in retirement, which is really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And kind of like that tree, Tony, when's the best time to start contributing to the Roth IRA? 20 years ago. And if you're not, now today is the time to start contributing to that Roth.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So we're talking about ways to maximize your 401k balance and how to understand it and better utilize it. What do you have for us next?
Yeah, another big thing, Tony, is don't cash out early. If you take out of your 401k or IRAs before 59 and a half, it can trigger a tax penalty of up to 10%. Plus, most of it's going to be taxable as income as well. So a lot of times it can be up to 40% that you have to give to Uncle Sam if you want to take money out of your retirement account. And so let's say that's $10,000. Well, if you would actually get about $6,000 out of that 10,000 because you'd have to give some to Uncle Sam to pay income tax plus penalties on it. And so it's really important not to cash that out early. Not only is it's cutting into that immediate, but it's also cutting into the compounding interest, that you could have on your portfolio by cashing out early.
Oh, yeah. When it comes to these retirement accounts, pulling money out of them before you're 59 and a half or 60 can be detrimental. It could cost you your retirement because it's going to cost you a lot. By the time people think, well, I've got $100,000 in my retirement account or 50, whatever it is. Yeah. But let's just say for kicks and giggles, you think you've got $100,000 in your retirement account. But it's a traditional 401k or traditional IRA. You pull that money out early and you're going to be paying full taxation, which could be up to 30% tax plus an extra 10% penalty.
Yeah.
Plus you're pulling it out of the market, and you could be pulling it out when the market's down, depends on where the market's happens to be at the day it's pulled out. And you're going to get opportunity cost at loss there. You're going to lose out on the compounding interest. So it's just, it's a snowball effect, and the money you'll actually end up with. I mean, you'd be lucky, if you have $100,000 in there, let's say you pulled it all out, you'd be lucky to end up with $60,000 or $50,000. But that's the whole thing is the reason that's not so bad. That money's for retirement anyway. Right. That's why you need to start saving an emergency fund as well. And you always talk about that. So you don't have to pull money out of a 401k for an emergency. Right.
Yeah, that's a great point, Tony. We want to have that emergency fund so that our 401k isn't our emergency fund. Mm-hmm. A lot of other things I see commonly, Tony, is, job switching. You mentioned job switching. The important part is to roll it either into your new employer plan or into an IRA. Otherwise, hey, I accumulated 20,000 in my 401k. That's not that much. I'm just going to cash it out and take the penalties. And then you start over and you do it again, and then you job switch again. And pretty soon you don't have anything in that retirement. And so it's really important that if you have those old 401ks out there, you want to look at rolling those into an IRA, somewhere where you can get advice Most of the time, you're not getting very little, if any, advice on your 401k at your current employer. And so you want to make sure, you roll it somewhere where you can have a trusted professional to give you advice on it. And then those rollovers, avoid the taxes and penalties as well. So
that's
roll from the old plan into an IRA or to a new plan, no taxes or penalties.
And that's good. But rollovers can be tricky. If you do the wrong thing, you can make a costly mistake there as well. So like you said, work with a trusted financial professional. Don't try to do that on your own for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things, we always have the check made out to the custodian that it's going to. So Tony, if you left your job, we wouldn't make it out to Tony Shore. We would make it out to Charles Schwab for the benefit of Tony Shore to make sure that's not a taxable event. And not to go too deep into it, but if the check is incorrectly made out, we can do what's called a 60-day rollover as well and still avoid paying those taxes and penalties on it.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to avoid that. So what's next?
Yeah. Common assumption I get is, Ashton, why would I roll my 401k to you? I don't pay any fees in my 401k currently. and you do. You do pay fees in the 401k plan. It isn't maybe as obvious or spelled out as what we do with our clients. We sit down, it's very transparent, the fees we have. But a lot of 401k plans aren't. And so a lot of times and we have a tool where we can look up most 401k plans to see what they're paying. And a lot of times it's as much, as working with an advisor one-on-one as well, somewhere in that anywhere from 1 to 1.5% I've seen for fees.
Yeah.
Inside of those 401k plans. So
yeah, most of them are at least 1% of your money that's in there goes to fees. You don't get that. I don't know how people think that money's being managed or invested without paying a fee.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as investing money for free. It has to go through a process, and that there's always a fee. But you pay fees for 401ks within there, but that is a common misconception. I admit. Before I started working with you and other financial advisors, I didn't realize I was paying fees in my 401k, but then I went back and dug into it. Sure enough. There it was. It was about 1%. I think it's more now, but
and again, it's usually buried in a big adoption agreement or something like that.
Yep. And, there's a lot of fine print when it comes to your, you get those notifications from Charles Schwab or whoever, and it's just like 5 pages of,
fine print,
legalese, fine print jargon, and you're like, okay, whatever. Nobody reads through that. But if you read all that information and you look at it, or you call them and ask them, they will tell you, yes, there's a fee
for sure.
So, yeah.
And so again, just be aware there are fees in 401ks, and so a lot of people, I want to leave it in my 401k because I'm not paying fees, but you are, and you're also not getting advice most of the time. I would say. Yeah. Very rarely have I had anybody where I ask that question and they're like, oh yeah, I meet with my guy every year on the 401k plan. It's mostly I set it up and haven't talked to anybody. So it's important. Again, it's usually a pretty large asset of yours.
Yeah.
To make sure that we get advice on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think, just to clarify what I said, stocks themselves don't carry fees, but how are you accessing those stocks within they're within a plan, a 401k plan, and that plan is managed. If they're in a portfolio, somebody's managing that portfolio and charging a fee. So there are fees, and the average investor has to go through some type of service, typically to own stock. Yeah. And so there are fees, but you have to work with a financial professional. And I would never want to go back to managing anything investment related on my own. It's worth the 1% fee or the 2% fee, what you get out of it, because especially actively managed, most 401ks, you're paying a fee, but yet nothing's being actively managed really based on your personal needs. Yep. And that's where working with a financial advisor like yourself is different. So what's next?
Yeah. I wasn't going to cover this, but you mentioned 1 to 2% is the fee sometimes for an advisor, but there's been a couple studies done by Russell Investments and Fidelity where the value of a financial advisor can be anywhere from that 4 to 5% over the overall portfolio. So again, that 1 to 2% fee, all-in fee, is going to be
covered.
A bargain.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to do, they say, versus working with a trusted fiduciary financial advisor like yourself versus not working, the minimum gain above where you would be in every study I've seen by Fidelity and a number of studies, independent, unbiased studies, the minimum is 3, and it's usually around 5 or 6. But even more than that, working with someone like yourself will avoid costly mistakes that could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, by, depending on, filing for Social Security at the right time, having a tax plan. These things will save you a lot in the long run.
For sure.
Yeah.
And one of those cost savings is planning for RMDs, required minimum distributions.
RMD stands, Ashton, RMD stands for required minimum distribution.
It does.
I thought it stood for really massive donut. This whole time, really massive donut. Yeah. I would prefer it stood for really massive donut, but they do force you to take money out of your retirement accounts at some point, don't they?
Yeah, and currently it's age 73. Sounds like it may kick back to age 75 at some point. But if you fail to take those, there's a 50% penalty from the IRS on that. And so again, you talk about the value of sitting down with somebody professionally and make sure you are taking care of those. Mm-hmm. It can lead to big savings as far as penalties go. And, maybe we, as far as taking it out, maybe we start taking it out earlier than that to not bump us in the next tax bracket. At age 70 and a half, you can actually do qualified charitable distributions. So that can go tax-free to charities. So if you're already somebody that gives to church or to different organizations, we can do it out of your IRA account, and it's going to be tax-free to give to those organizations. And then you can still, most of the time, qualify for a standard deduction, depending on how you file taxes. We want to make sure we're well diversified in there. That's another piece that, again, adds value there. If we're not well diversified, not just domestically, but maybe we want some international exposure, stocks, bonds, depending on how aggressive or conservative, possibly even a fixed indexed annuity that's going to guarantee some principal protection, downside protection there as well. So again, it's just a piece that you want to make sure you're doing inside of that 401k or outside if you end up leaving that company and rolling it into an IRA.
Sure.
As well.
Well, and you've given us a lot to think about here so far today. Excellent 401k info. Tell us how you are well positioned to help manage 401ks, or how do you as an independent financial advisor help people?
Yeah. The nice thing is we can, depending on if you're still employed or not, we may or may not be able to roll that into an IRA, help you manage the funds here. We're independent, so I don't have to sell any proprietary products. I go out and try and find the best products for my clients without Pankin and Financial Group on them. There's no Ashton Pankin and Mutual Fund that I sell because I get a bigger kickback, anything like that. And so again, we sit down, we talk about your goals, strategies to help you reach those goals without having any proprietary products that we have to offer to get a little better kickback there. Sure. So yeah, it's important to do. And even if you're still at that employer, we do a lot of in-service withdrawals as well. So if you're over 59 and a half, most plans allow in-service withdrawal. So you can get that money moved to maybe somewhere a little more conservative, or where you're just getting advice on it as we're getting closer to that, 65 or 67, whatever that retirement age is.
Sure. And that leads me to my next question that I was going to ask you, Ashton. First of all, I want to go back and address something you just said, actually. And that is, I wish there was a Pankin Mutual Fund. I wish there was the Pankin portfolio.
Yeah.
That's the portfolio I want to be in, the Pankin portfolio. But you kind of hinted at this, but I know this is a question you get from a lot of people who you meet with. Should I open an IRA if I already have a 401k? What would you tell someone who's asking that?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of times we do open that IRA. You can open both. You can have a 401k. You can have an IRA. There are some income limits depending on the type of IRA you want to open up. But you are still able to fund those IRAs. And again, in 2025 here, we have $7,000 that you're able to do if you're under 50 and $8,000 if you're over 50 that you can contribute. And then you also have your 401k limits that you can still put in. And again, if you're over 50, you get those catch-up limits. And so we can end up stocking quite a bit away each year as we get closer to that retirement goal when you're over 50. As long as you have the budget to do it, we can definitely do that. And a lot of times, again, we had mentioned not all 401ks offer the Roth option. And so that's where it might make sense to open up a Roth IRA outside of the 401k so that you can continue to contribute to some tax-free growth there as well.
Sure. And then outside that 401k question, if I'm a small business or self-employed or run a business, there are IRAs I can open for myself, right? Or my employees.
Yeah. So if you're an individual, you can open traditional or Roth IRA, again, with income limits there and stipulations. But if you're self-employed or an employer yourself, small business with some employees, we could open up a couple different plans. One of them being a SEP IRA, where we contribute as a profit sharing piece, or a simple IRA, where a lot of times we offer a match or a straight contribution from the employer on it. And a lot of times they're less expensive than starting a 401k plan. So if you don't have anything for your employees yet and you want to start something, a lot of times we start with that simple IRA.
Again, everything I've heard you talk about today regarding 401ks and IRAs, Ashton, tells me that it depends on each individual situation, what's going to be right for them, which is why you like to sit down, get to know them. And there's no cost for that. If our listeners have questions, they can call you up, set up a time to come in and talk to you about these things. And there's no charge, no obligation. So before we go today, we're out of time, but before we go today, let our listeners out there know one more time how they can set that up.
Yeah. Give our office a call at 952-873-2703. Again, that's 952-873-2703. And if it makes sense, we can answer the questions over the phone, or if we want to dig deeper, we can definitely set an appointment to sit down and discuss your individual situation.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Ashton. A great show today. Listeners, that does it for today's episode of the Pankinen Financial Perspective.
Thank you for joining us for Pankinen Financial Perspective. Don't head into retirement without a plan for both your finances and your health. For more information, contact Ashton Pankinen at Pankinen Financial Group at 952-873-2703 or visit PankinenFinancialGroup.com. Join us again soon for another episode of Pankinen Financial Perspective. Advisory services are offered by Ashton Pankinen LLC DBA Pankinen Financial Group, an investment advisor in the state of Minnesota.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.